Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars fans and collectors, this is the Not So Vintage Nerd with a double review. On the left, we have Vintage Collection, and on the right, the Black Series. Yes, Darth Vader, Death Star 2, and just Darth Vader for Return of the Jedi. So they are both concluding the 40th anniversary celebration, and of course, that was fitting that we got Vader on both scales. Vader is always a special case because, well, if you got to do a celebration, you got to repack Vader all the time. They did with the A New Hope, aka the original Star Wars movie, Empire Strikes Back, which introduced a small feature on Vader, and this one is there's some new tooling compared to the Black Series Empire Vader, and of course there was the dual Sand Vader that just came out in Target shops. But I'm in Canada, and I don't know when we're gonna get the dual hand Vader. No idea. But yeah, so Vintage Collection, we got it in June in Canada for Vader, and the Vader for Black Series just came out in September of 2023. So 3 months apart, both figures they are out now, and yeah, we're gonna take a look, of course, at both of them. Before I go on about the figures, I want to address my opinions on the card backs, and I will say they are amazing, especially the Vintage Collection version with the photo of Sebastian Shaw, which is the more episode 3-ish Vader with the lack of eyebrows, the new eyes, because of course it was based on the appearance of Hayden Christensen, so Sebastian Shaw got an edit, which is kind of weird. And of course, the Black Series version as the OG version of Vader, with I think that was from a Mexican card back of the original Kenner Vader. I don't remember, and I don't even know if it's supposed to be a real version or a repack that was illegal. I have no idea, because there is a specific image of New Hope Vader, the original movie, and it's been repurposed for Empire. It's been repurposed, of course, for the multiple releases of the A New Hope Vader, and this is the one that is essentially using a brand new card back of all three celebrations of the 40th anniversary of Star Wars movies. So yeah, it is what it is for the card backs. Point goes to Vintage Collection for the originality, but of course, I would almost give it a point solely based on the original art that is, well, fundamental to Vader, with the pointy ends, and of course the shiny helmet, the Angar of Death Star 2 it is amazing. It's the main marketing image of Vader. And here they are, both out of their packaging. Of course, the package that I have shown you at the beginning, they are the ones that I will keep carded. So yeah, double dipped on each of them, because, well, Vader is my favorite character ever in Star Wars, possibly one of my favorite characters in all medium combined, and yeah, so of course I'm gonna be extra severe in some ways in regards to my personal opinion on both Black Series and Vintage Collection. That doesn't say or mean that I'm unsatisfied with both product. I'm happy with that. Of course, there are issues with both of them, there are pros with both of them, and that's what I'm gonna address. Now, for both, it's pretty much equal when it comes to the accessories, except for one little thing, as you will probably find out. So of course, with both Vintage Collection and of course a Black Series, as you see, I inverted the figures. I show the Black Series on the right, and then it's now on the left. There will be a lot of variation. Anyway, so Vintage Collection and Black Series, you get the figure out of the box with the end chopped off, and of course the full-on reveal of the portrait of Anakin Skywalker. And the next piece for the helmet is one separate piece. So we get both the mask, the dome piece, the lightsaber, and of course the glove. Now, what is different with the Vintage Collection, of course, you get the extra hilt. Please, Hasbro, Black Series team, more lightsaber hilt. More saber hilt, please. We are afraid to break them, especially this one. Now you can see probably the clip, some sort of a hinge or whatever, so you can actually hook the lightsaber hilt on Vader's belt. But the problem with that is that it can be extremely bendy, and of course you can drop it and it can break. And of course with the The blade easily removable, and you gotta press it correctly or else it's gonna bend. So it locks in place. It's not that bad. My blade, I don't think it's too bendy. It's not that bad really. And of course it's more red than of course the Kenobi Vader, which I do have and was disappointed with it. So I'm not gonna show you that Vader. I'm gonna focus entirely on the Return of the Jedi Vader. Now there's similarities with both for both figures with the articulation, but there are differences in terms of sculpting and of course in terms of recycling. Here is the vintage collection alternative for Darth Vader. So of course based on the Return of the Jedi, which you can see with the with what is essentially the chest plate. So you can see the blue and red buttons on the upper right. You got the red button on the series of 4. Now what is missing is a red button on, well, more of a red light that is on both sides of the belt. Very specific illumination, like right there, that is supposed to be. You got a series of 6, and on the left you should have a red spot, and in between, of course, the and you got the green. So that's possibly the only painting stuff that you are missing on this one. And I would say the health sculpt for Vader, the portrait for Anakin, it's kind of a mix between both Aiden Christensen and of course Sebastian Shaw. So that's kind of a weird mix of I don't know how to say this really, because you can tell it's both Sebastian Shaw and Aiden on that face. So I don't know why they mixed that one. And I know there's a battle damage version of Vader that's coming out. It's gonna have the Aiden sculpt, and I've seen the pictures already of the prototype, and it's looking wonderful. And the scars are pretty good on this one. It's pretty amazing. Of course, you get the cut glove, and it's not too bad really. I wish it was a bit of painting, but not sure. The gray still works. At least there's a bit of painting. That's pretty much what's awesome about this one. So the reason why I love this Vader so much is because, well, it used the Dark Time sculpt. So basically full-on articulation, and you got the shoulder pads limiting the articulation on the shoulder. That's how it's supposed to be on this very specific version of Vader. So we got the full full swivel, of course, on the elbows. And for this one, you got a piece that you can remove, so it's kind of sculpted inside right there. So it's gonna be easy to remove, but not really. So it's gonna be easy to peg in, and of course you get the interchangeable hand. So you can peg the first part of the glove, and of course you get the the hand, sorry, and of course you get a pretty good bend for a vintage figure, vintage collection figure, not really a vintage figure. There's 5 POA, but not really. And of course you get the vertical hinge on this one, but it's limited because of the sculpting, which is kind of a disappointment really, but it still works. And of course you get the vertical hinge on this one for the left end, which really push lightsaber posing to new levels on a Sith Lord. So separate piece for this one, but I will show you something. A lot of articulation on this Vader helmet. There's a lot of articulation, and of course you get the double bar peg, as you can see. So the way the helmet is supposed to work, now I got a third unit and the mask was not working properly, so I replaced it, and as you can see, this one, the overall shape is good, the painting is fine, but I don't think the brown is supposed to be on this mask, but it is what it is. Some people say it's supposed to be, and you can actually sit the mask like this, and it's old and placed pretty well. Now it's not properly flush because you got to place the head better, and now for some reason it's not working for me because, well, you got to place the head first, then you place the mask, and it's holding pretty well on this Vader. And then you get the dome, and of course you get a full Vader sculpt, which is amazing. It really is amazing. Like, my first ever action figure of Star Wars was Vader, flashback photo Vader. I think we've come full circle on this one. So, limited by the sculpt, but you get the the ball swivel for the torso, which is pretty good. You get a rotation on both legs like this, which is kind of weird, but it works. Of course, the dome piece can fall off, but it pegs usually pretty well. So you just gotta be careful. And of course, if you want to rotate the head, just pinch it and it moves properly. Amazing articulation on this Vader. Of course, you get the full kick with a swivel for the tight swivel. That's what I wanted to say. Full bend on the knee. It's not too bad with a with the side swivel. Once more, and of course, full on rocker ankles, and not too bad for the knee the ankle bend. So it's not too bad for the vertical. And there you go. So that's how it functions really for the articulation. It's amazing Vader, and if you need a Vader at this scale, this is the one you get. Of course, if you see the Dark Times Vader, you can actually use it as well. And of course, the lightsaber on the peg, it's kind of difficult to insert it. I don't know if it's because of the claw piece. Okay, again the the dome piece. So there you go. That is your vintage collection Vader, of course, lightsaber. And there you go. Full hand pose. Two hand. Yeah, why not? This one can do it. Not too bad. Let's try it. So two hand pose for Return of the Jedi Vader. Now I wish the sabers was a little longer. They redone the blade for the sabers. Has a blade for the Cal Kestis and Sabine Wren, and it looks wonderful. Vader needs a new blade for the lightsaber. So this is your vintage collection Vader from Return of the Jedi. Get it. Really get it. I think the only thing really is the blade really, and of course the limited wrist for the hand. That's pretty much the only criticism that I do have. It's the perfect Vader, I would say, for this scale. It is the perfect Vader. You can actually get a full pose for this one, so which is amazing really. So let me try a full pose. Of course, there's no butterfly joint on this Vader, but that's the only thing really that is missing. This is your Vader. This is your perfect Vader for the scale of vintage collection. Get it. It's amazing. You can tell just by the posing, the authenticity of the figure. It's pretty good. And here is the Black Series version of Darth Vader. The original one was released is like in 2014. That was the first Vader. Kind of a blunder really, because of the puppy dog eyes or the walrus eyes or something. I don't know. It was kind of a weird release for Vader, and we pretty much come full circle with a full new mask and some lessons from past Vader and some lessons not taken again. So that's what we're going to talk about. First of all, the mask. It looks pretty good, and I think it should be a little stretched up just a little bit, I think, because I think the eyes are supposed to be much more round on Vader. It's kind of weird. Of course, the camera is choosing not to focus, which is kind of weird. I wish that was not the case. Oh boy. Equipment. That's all I need. That's all I need now. There you go. So the bronze is great. I don't know why there's a bit of a painting on the upper nose. So you see the gray, that's kind of weird. So yeah, no details on the grill except for the lines that are supposed to be there. So you see the dot, so you can actually fit the dome pretty well. Glossy dome, heavy dome. So yeah, that's something that the Empire Strikes Back Vader didn't really have a much shinier dome. So that's kind of weird. And of course, the swappable glove, a full swappable glove actually, with a peg, so you can actually swap the broken hand with a full hand, and of course the lightsaber that I did show off earlier. Now, the helmet, or the portrait of Vader here. Wow, it's a good sculpt for Vader. The full head sculpt for Vader is pretty good. So it really looks like Sebastian Shaw without the eyebrows. I wish that the head was a little more white instead of the pale color, the like skin white colors. So that's kind of weird, because at this point you would need the eyebrows to replicate the full 1983 edition. But it is what it is. The scars on Vader, it's great. It's good sculpt overall. Paint application, it's fine. Not on the colors, unfortunately. There's lack of colors. It's supposed to be gray at times. But yeah, it's a good portrait for Vader. It really is. Now, let's address the elephant in the room with this Vader. Now, I've seen some discussion about this helmet. I've seen videos. I've seen discussion on whether or not is it quality control or bad design. And I will say it works. However, you should not rely on such effort to put this on this, because what you probably see, depending on the focus of course, is that there's some grooves where you can place the mask. Unfortunately, it's really difficult because of the health sculpt or the portrait sculpt, which makes it far more difficult at first. As you fiddle a little bit with it, you can get it to work. But at first, it's really difficult because you gotta get the shape. You gotta get the shape right. And yet again, it's not working as intended because it's tough. Now, the reason I believe it is because there's a cut on the back of the head to fit in with the neck collar piece. So it works right now, but that's why it's difficult. Because of the piece right there, the neck piece, it's softer. It's far too soft. It's not sculpted with the portrait, which makes it a lot more difficult than it should be. Of course, in the movies they are individual pieces. I understand that, but at some point, what is the limit? Which means that now you can place the helmet, and it works. It does work. It's the effort that you need to use that makes it annoying. So what I would recommend, once you get the head moving, use both of your fingers, pinch it, and move it. The articulation on this Vader is wonderful. The articulation, oh my god. This is the best part of the figure. All the articulation you get. The expression. That's where it comes from. The head incline, like this. Right there. And if I add the hand, which is a removable peg thingy, like this, you see the peg? It's not too bad. And then it's placed properly, so you can get two kind of swivel, which is really, really weird for Vader. Right there. So that's how it is. So let me role play just a little bit. Perhaps you feel you're being treated unfairly with the head inclined like this. It's great. It really is great. This is the best part of Vader. The second best part, and this is thanks to the glove piece right there, and the other end is that unlike the Black Series Empire Vader, now you can see the problem with the moving the helmet. There you go. That's the problem, because sometimes it holds, sometimes it doesn't. So both vertical hinges. That's great. So for the shoulders, you get the full thing right there, which I don't like, because the tunic should be fully under the armor. This should be sculpted on the shoulder piece right there, the upper body. So that is not supposed to be this way. That's not how Vader is supposed to move at all. There's not a single version that is supposed to do that at all. So the best part, again, for most people who didn't get the Empire Vader, you get, it's kind of difficult to see, but there is a butterfly joint on this Vader. So you can move the arms back and forth like this. It's kind of difficult to see, but it works. And it changes a lot of stuff for this lightsaber posing that is required for Vader. So, of course, you get the full torso like this. It's not too bad. Limited, again, but it's Vader. I can accept that. Now, I'm going to remove the helmet because it's kind of annoying, really. Now, what I will not accept is this. Still no new legs. Pin leg with double hinges, with the double. Why? Why? We don't need that all the time. Just make it great, and that's all I need to do. That's all I need to see. And I don't even think the proportion are supposed to be like this. But yeah, just give us regular one swivel knee, or just one swivel and one bend on the knee. That's all I'm gonna need to see. Rocker ankles, that's fine. Great for the boot, and not too much for this side. I'm kind of mixed with this Vader because of so many little good things. There are some that are not good enough. This should be changed. This should be fully newly tooled. This is great. The pegs. I mean, the full articulation Vader like this. It's great. That's fine. But it's not quite there yet. That's why it's so annoying. That's why I still like it, but it's not great. It needs better. This needs better all new tooling, and I will send this message to Hasbro or any people working on the Black Series. Vader needs a full new tooling from the ground up for the A New Hope release. If you reuse anything from Empire, Kenobi, Dual Stand, or this Vader, even the 2014 leg, I'm done trusting the Black Series in any capacities. That's all. Now, of course, I want to do one pose with Vader, which is fundamental. Now, that's the problem again. With the peg, if you move the arms too much. I do wish I could do a fundamental pose with Vader, which is, of course, the two-handed pose. Now, the beauty of this figure over the Empire Vader, if you can handle it, as I said, the freaking ends, the wrists are vertical hinges, which means I'm gonna remove the helmet for now, which means that you can do this almost perfectly, preparing the overhead slash, which is great. Now, let's do a full Masked Vader pose one last time, and I'm gonna bring back the vintage collection figure so we can actually have a side-by-side showdown. Let's just say that with both fodder and MIDI fodder, as we know. But yeah. These legs. Why, Hasbro? Why? You were so close to get it perfect. So close. Yet still far away. Good Lord in heaven. So close. But we will get there. We will get there. You just need to care just a little more. That's all there is to it. Now, there you go. And here they are, both the Black Series and the Vintage Collection Darth Vader for the 14th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So this is pretty much Anakin Skywalker as we gonna get it in his Vader form. So something that I want to point out about the Black Series Vader, they are missing Empire scribblings. So on the Black Series Vader for Empire, there were some markings under the flashing lights. They're not present on this version, but they are on the card back, which is kind of weird. So, what I would change on the Vintage Collection, extend the lightsaber. That's all I'm going to ask. You got the perfect articulation for the line. You got the perfect mold. It's the perfect Vader. I will say this right now, this is the perfect Vader. The authenticity of it all, the height when next to other figures, this is the one. Of course, you can debate whether or not you get the brown eyes or not, but this is the one. In regards to the Black Series, it needs a full resculpt for the next release. You need new legs. You need a full retooling of the shoulders, because that armor should be stuck. By the way, it should be stuck, like you do with Boba Fett. That's pretty much what you need at this point. Keep the best neck articulation that you can have. That's great, because the personality for Vader, it comes from the head tilt. You got both the vertical hinges for the wrist. That's great. You got a starting point. Butterfly joint as well. You got a starting point, but you need a full resculpt for Vader. It needs a full resculpt. In terms of value proposition, both figures are great for your wallet. It's your decision whether or not you prefer Black Series or Vintage Collection, or you just love Vader, you want both of them, that's great. Maybe you want to double dip like I did with the card back because you're a collector, that's fine. Do it, it's your wallet. However, Black Series needs improvement. We got it with the Vintage Collection. That's why I'm kind of disappointed with Black Series, because I want Black Series to have great product as they are collectors. Of course, they deserve as well as much as we got for Vintage. So, yeah, it's pretty much the Ultimate Vader for both scales, in terms of features, in terms of articulation that we have for now, in terms of presentation, in terms of presence especially. But we're not quite there yet with the Black Series. We're there with Vintage. So close though, so close. But I can feel its presence. I can feel that it is Vader. Just not there yet with those legs, because I fear it's gonna I'm just gonna need a stand for this one. That's what I fear. I don't need a stand for the Vintage Collection Vader. It stands pretty much, and of course, great peg holes on this Vader. It stands pretty well as well. So if you want to stand, so close. Anyway, that was a double review of Darth Vader, both the Black Series and Vintage Collection for the 14th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. It concluded with Vader. We're not gonna get anything else from the 40th anniversary, which was kind of weird. Not the best way of doing things from Hasbro or anybody else, but yeah, we got there. It's concluded. The circle is now complete, as Vader would say. But yeah, the not so vintage nerd signing off. May the Fourth be with you. And since we have Vader right now, long live the Empire.